Hello, I am Jeff, spiritual escape artist. Welcome. So, today I want to talk about the power and pitfall of identification. That's right, identification. You heard me right. I'm talking about labeling, naming, creating descriptions. You do it all the time. So do I. It's part of being human. It's part of having a mind. It's how we get by. It's how we figure things out. It's how we've learned to survive, grow, evolve, and thrive. Everything you see around you is a product of some form of identification from someone along the way. It's the basis for the drive of one's mind is determining what things are, creating categories, creating classifications, families, all of these things so that we may create a language in order to communicate and translate what would otherwise be completely meaningless, intangible. When we look out into the world and we see these things that we have names for in our respective language, all of these words are ultimately made up by one of us along the way. And then the rest of us picked it up and made an agreement, an unspoken agreement, if you will. But this is what this is called. That's a tree over there. That's a cloud up there. This is an itch over here. I'm feeling thirsty. I'm feeling hungry. I'm getting tired. We have names for just about every little thing that we possibly have. But in reality, all of the names and words and badges that we place on everything are a limitation, a necessary limitation to experiencing, to the full breadth of the experience as it's really happening. So the reason why I talk about this as both the power of identification as well as the pitfall, I'll tell you. But we'll start first with the downside of it and how it really inhibits us, how it pins us down, makes us struggle. Because, for example, as soon as we go through our life and we begin to create identity for the things that we're experiencing, we are in turn also putting in place how our relationship with said thing develops. And as we experience these things, for instance, your mom and your dad, your particular gender or sex or how that comes into play, your skills, what it is you like, your tastes, your problems, your general disposition, and how that proceeds from birth until where you are now. The expression of it is painted internally unto yourself, and we call this our identity. So your identity isn't just your name and your profession, what you like, and the story of your family. It's also your rule system. It's your values. It's how you identify the world around you. That also makes up, in the sense, who you are or how you see yourself in relation to the world around you. So in figuring out who you are and determining who you are and creating who you are, you are doing it by observing the world around you and the way that it interacts with you. And that is also part of the tuning of how you describe yourself or describe something else in your relationship to it. And it comes down to quite literally everything from a higher power, or we could call it God. We could point at Jesus Christ, or perhaps we don't have those definitions quite clearly defined in our life. So we will have a description of ambiguity there, or we'll even go far as to say that it cannot exist. And that too is an identification. And then you would say, I am an atheist. And now that is how you identify the world, and you are confirmed by it. So as you create identification, then you are, in a sense, programming yourself to how you interact with the world, how you not only describe it to yourself, but you express yourself to others. So now you are seeking the validation of the label or name that you give a thing, or the description that you put to it. If you begin to say that this is how it is, or that my ex is an a-hole, or my parents are loving and wonderful, or my job sucks, or the president is ridiculous, you are now going to see and experience examples of this. It's going to arise to you, and you're going to create these little things. We call them confirmation bias. But this is just natural. We're training our mind to seek the things so that we can put order into our life, into our own mind, so we can sort everything out to ultimately stop worrying about it, to ultimately stop thinking about it. But we create traps. We create inconsistencies. We set ourselves up for experiences without even realizing that we're doing that by, for instance, going back to calling your ex, all the possible bad curse words that you could come up with, not only to yourself but your friends after the fact, and you drink and you carry on and you talk about these people in your life that you blame for your situation or whatever may have occurred. You are creating a unspoken energetic field, if you will, an essence that you carry about that person. So say if you had a kid with that ex, and now you have to interact with that ex, you walk into the room and you look upon their face and they see your face. They can feel you in the room just as you can feel them in the room. And in a flash instant, when you see the expression on their face and they read your expression, all of that information about the way that you feel about them and the things that you say about them, both to yourself and others, is immediately, instantaneously transmitted to the other person, even if you're not speaking to them yet. And then in the words that are spoken from that person to you or from you to them, it hits with that kind of energy inside the words. These words that we're using, these identifications, these names, these labels, pack a punch. And even if you don't really mean them, it's still highlighting a way that you think, even in sarcasm. And this is the pitfall. This is the pitfall of using this language and creating identification and giving everyone their roles and then watching everybody abide by those roles. They confirm that. She's a bitch or whatever. You see that happen. You're confirmed by it. And now you have set that person into a confinement, into their own personal prison that exists in your own mind for that person, with all the labels and classifications and warning signs saying, can't do this, can't say this around them, you got to, because that person is this person now. But unbeknownst to most people, while they're so busy doing this, is that really they are erecting and creating their own identity. You see, your identity is what you think of other people. in how you describe other people. And I'm talking everybody, everyone you love and everyone you hate. All of your descriptions and forms that you put them in, all of those categories that you've filed them into, is part of this great construct that you call yourself. This great construct of your identity, your ego. And that's the pitfall. There's a toll you must pay when you play this game. You have to pay the tax on the things that you say to yourself, to others, the way that you describe your life, the way that you describe the things that are happening. And I know that things happen the way they do, and they make you feel a certain way. And it feels as though you don't have any control over that. And while it's happening, that may be true. But there's 24 hours in a day. There's however many days that you have to go on. You are the one that lives with you 100% of that time. You are the one that's with you always. And if you'll notice the nature of these words that I'm saying, that you live with yourself, you exist with yourself, you have a relationship with yourself, that denotes that there's 2 points of you, that you are not just the one listening, but you are the mind or the identity or the ego that you are having a relationship with, that you are creating, that is creating you, that is creating your experience. There is this consistent, constant happening, occurring. And typically, we just experience it as our mind. Just our mind. And this is creating the filter. This is creating the matrix. This is the thing that we run everything through when we interact with other people, when we create or end relationships, when we go to work, when we lay down at night, when we distract ourselves, helplessly distract ourselves by accruing more materials and staring at our phones or our screens, or drugging ourselves. We're all doing that as a way to cope with having a mind, dealing with this self-identity that we can't seem to get away from. So now let's talk about enough about the bad, enough about the pitfall of this thing. I'm here to tell you about the good part, okay? The good side is that you are more than this. You are more. You are not your identity. You are the identifier. You are the observer. You're the witness. Maybe you've heard these words before. You are the experiencer. You are the primal essence. You are the beating heart. You are a soul, a spirit. You are the electrical power that's beating your heart right now and sending synapses, new signals, creating new signals, wiring new pathways. As you listen to this, you are meshing with my pathways, my synapse, and we are creating new pathways. And therein lies the power of this identification I speak of, this ability to name things, to describe things, is our birthright. It's our God-given essence. We get to have an identity. We get to be a person. We get to get creative in the way that we express ourselves. We don't have to be limited or confined to how we have defined it. We can find new definition. And as we find these new definitions, and as we cultivate a ever-evolving identity, and we do not hold ourselves to the limitation of our past, we open up into a field of new possibilities, of new opportunities, and with that, new relationships, because we automatically attract those that are also on the same evolutionary path. We are blending with those around us. Our environment dictates who we are, as we are ever in charge of our environment and where we're placing our attention. And where we're placing our attention is where we're putting words, where we are identifying, So the power in that comes in a multitude of ways, but I'll express here a couple for you. One is to learn how to just chill. Stop identifying for a little while. Let it be. Let it go. Stop with the story. Hold back for a while. Stop trying to figure it out. Stop trying to sort everything and put everything in its place. And the more you do that, the more you open up your senses. You open up your ability to see. You open up your ability to listen. You open your ability to feel. Because you're not confining yourself. You only have so many seconds in a day. You only have so many hours. I'm not going to do the math on that right now for you. But you know what I'm saying. Thinking takes time, okay? Thinking and worrying and considering and sorting through all this thought, it takes time. And quite frankly, people are inefficient in how much they concern themselves with in their mind. Worrying about the future, dealing with the past is just getting in the way of your present moment. And the way to access that present moment is by setting that down for a while, to fully listen. And it could be to wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Sitting in a grocery store, listening to the dings of the cash registers or the sliding of the shopping carts, or sitting in traffic, feeling the vibration on the wheel in the car, actually expanding your sensation from one end of the car to the other. Like, you have a sense of that. You know how the car sits on the four wheels. It's like your sense of self expands out into a vehicle that you happen to be driving. And you can play with that. You can open yourself up to that. You can open yourself up to the going outside and really feel the expanse of the sky. Notice how many birds are singing. Notice all the distant dogs barking, or perhaps the one right next to you, and what it's doing. There is an entire world going on that is completely unfathomable. There's no way you can grasp it into any single thought. Again, that single thought, it takes focus, it takes time. And it means that it's going to put up limiters and walls on everything else that is going on so that you can attend to this one little thing, this one little passing, fleeting concern about what you're going to do when you show up to the office tomorrow. That is temporary and isn't actually helping you with what you're actually going to do when you arrive to the office tomorrow. It's just cluttering you right now and keeping you from enjoying the next bite of food that your wife cooked for you, or perhaps dealing with your back pain and going and doing that stretch that you've been telling yourself you need to do for a long time. That just a few stretches a day and you'd feel a lot better. And how many times have you told yourself that? Thinking doesn't get anything done, right? So the idea is learn how to stop it for a while. And you can do that. Just look at what happens when somebody tells you, do you hear that? Listen. In that split moment when you started listening, you stopped thinking. Anyone can do it. As soon as you tell yourself you can't do it, you see, now you're placing down a description, you're creating an identification, a label, a barrier, and saying, no, I can't do that. On to the next thought. I am a slave to my mind. It's not true. You're the master, always have been. So that one skill I, of course, speak of is letting go of the thought. Learn how to meditate. Learn how to listen. Learn how to see. Learn how to feel. Taste. Start using the senses that you have to their fullest and set the thoughts aside for a while. Set all the identification aside for a while. And then what you begin to do is have more what we can call mental space, which means that you think more clearly. You have a better memory. I'm telling you. It's easier to think. It's easier to know what to do when faced with a problem, faced with a new situation. And when that next day comes and you show up to the office, you will know exactly what to do because you know what to do. You've always known what to do. And the only reason that you struggle or worry about it is because you're doubting yourself. So this comes into the power, the real power behind what we can do with these words, with the way that we identify ourselves, with the way that we craft our identity, is by speaking more highly of ourselves, speaking more highly of others, speaking with love, of kindness, of a possibility for change for those that have wronged you, for those that have wronged themselves. Like, look at this, for instance. You could be so angry at a politician, for example, but you don't realize that when you're blaming someone for ruining perhaps your life or a bunch of other people's lives, when you are busy blaming them, you're also giving them credit. You're also saying that they have some kind of power over you and others. And while that may be true on paper, or according to the current events, you are now admitting that that person has more to do with how you feel than you do. And that person is now being confined into an identity, into a form, a mold that will not break. And there's nothing you can do about that. You are now worrying about something that you can't control, that's going to dictate seconds, minutes, hours of your day and how you feel and how you get to bed and how you wake up and how you enjoy your coffee or how you enjoy your time with your kids. And it's all just bottled up inside this one person, this one form, this one character on a screen or in a news feed. So if you see that there is a power in being able to detach from that, and then now you can distribute a new definition. Here's one. They don't know what they're doing. They are blinded by their own ego, their own self-identity. They think that's what they should be doing. We look at some of the worst people in history, and if you were to sit down and talk to them, they feel justified in what they do because that's the way that their identity is working. That's how they are confirmed. And those people are typically surrounded by the kind of individuals that look up to that sort of thing, and we call them yes men. And then they bolster that person's identity and attitude and how they act. So they're not even real people thinking consciously. They're a creature of habit. In a lot of ways, they're just kids. They're just infants. And somebody gave them too much power because the stuff that I'm talking about isn't taught in schools. It isn't, widely spoken about information because it completely breaks down the status quo. And the status quo is, profit, control, status. I'm speaking to Americans and a greater, expanse of the world as it is right now, of course. But all that aside, the fact of what I'm trying to point out here is you think of them as a child now, you think of them as an infant or someone that doesn't know what they do, and you can let go of them. Oh, well, not much I can do here. Hope they figure things out. Hope they have a change of heart. Hope they have an awakening. And now by you mentally giving them that chance or that opportunity, you open up opportunity for yourself. You open up opportunity for changing an aspect of yourself that you thought was impregnable, something you couldn't possibly ever change it. That's just the way things are because that was what your dad told you, and that's what all the men told him, and that's what all the men told him. And now we're beginning to realize, no, it doesn't have to be the way they say it is. The way that people make a living has completely transformed with the rise of AI and technology. the way that things are getting done is transforming, and we are, as technology evolves, as AI evolves, it means that we must evolve. We must evolve our identity, and we must become more creative, access our imagination, and open up to greater possibilities of what we can do to get by, to be who we are, to express ourselves. And people love it. People are beginning to cherish it. And I mean, we always have, but now it's more accessible with the advent of the internet and streaming and all this social media and YouTube and all that. Now we have full creative capacity to actually become something and become successful doing what we've always dreamed of doing. And I don't have to point out all the examples, but I wanted to make a point that times are a-changing, and it behooves you, I advise you, to learn meditation, learn silence, how to get quiet, how to expand beyond the limitations of your mind, to open your heart, to feel and grow the relationship with your spirit, and whatever that means for you, whether that be through the Lord Jesus Christ, through Hare Krishna, through Ganesha, through spirit guides, through Native American ancestors, through whatever it is, whatever turns you on, gets you excited, or brings you comfort or joy, warms your heart. Go that way. That's your way. Follow your way, and you will find freedom. You will find joy. You will find empowerment. You will find wealth and abundance, and you will find the people that you best connect with. So, I think that pretty much wraps it up. Realize we're always playing this game of identifying and storytelling, going through narratives, editorializing, placing down rules and regulations of which we must abide by. You get the authority over that more than you know, and it can align with that which you have values with, of which your faith rests in. And you will find greater and greater alignment with the people that you're with and the community that you live in. We're all kind of making it up as we go along. I'm serious. We're supposed to. It's the joy of life. It's the sweetness of life. Man, it's fun. Man, when you really access it, you don't have to live under the weight of the way it's been, of the way that your parents did it, or the way that your ancestors did it. We're stepping onto new ground here. Consciousness is evolving. I'm not kidding. I experience it not only within myself, but within the people that are closest to me, and by proximity, expanding outward. I'm seeing it everywhere. And the person's listening to me and is still tuned in knows this, otherwise you wouldn't still be here. You know you're evolving. You know you're growing up into a greater infinite capacity. So thank you. Thank you for tuning in this long. Please share it if you like it. Click all the things, click like, comment, please. It helps me get in front of more people and spread this channel and grow it. So any kind of interaction is truly appreciated. Thank you.